Oh man, it was the best sleep. I never thought being under anesthesia could be so good. So moving forward, um, they made me an appointment with a specialist. I got a chance to meet him. I did take pictures with him because that's my hero at this point. Young doctor, very nice doctor, very passionate doctor. So if you're in Burbank, California, you're near LA, you want a great doctor, I can give you his name. He was young, vibrant. I mean, it was just like a heaven sent. So now moving forward, I know that I have to have care here. I proceed on getting my doctor's appointment, but now I have to think differently. And so November the 30th, regardless of my circumstances and decisions that I made, I had to get out. And you know what? I did. I packed up the little remnants of things I had, and that's when I packed them in my car. And those appointments that I talked about going to see this doctor was happening from my car. And yes, I became not only, I was not homeless, I was home free. I was, meaning my own definition, I was free from the responsibilities of taking care of someone else's property. I was no longer doing that. I was going to live my best life, do me, go where I want to go, be free, spend my money, all my money that I was making from, as me at the time, I was a hairstylist. I was a mobile hairstylist. Again, I was working in entertainment as a hairstylist, and nobody knew about this but the people was in my close circles, because the way I am dressed now is how I maintain my dress code throughout. I was ready. You never knew my circumstances, and it was not important. It wasn't part of the conversation unless you was really in my circle because you was around there every day. And those are the people telling me don't jump. I jumped. And again, it was a liberating. It was the best experience I've had in my life under the circumstances. And yes, I was out there with the fibroid. And yes, it was November. And you know, November looks just like November if you live on the East Coast. It gets cold in LA. Don't let that sun fool you. It gets cold out there. Ask a homeless person. It gets cold out there in those streets. Only thing that separated me from a homeless person was that roof of my car. And I had a 2010, uh-oh, I had a 2010 Mazda Miata two-seater. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about all the home life, the home free lifestyle. We'll talk about that later. Again, all those chapters are right here in this book. And I said I was not telling anything until I survived it. Until I survived LA in those circumstances, I made it back home to my mama and my family. That's when I sat down and I wrote this book. I said, I can't let nobody know what this grown woman is actually doing, but I did. It was very uncomfortable, but I was comfortable being uncomfortable, and the comfortable I created. So moving forward, go to the doctor, make these appointments, made all my appointments, got me a date set up, I believe was for February. It was the day after Valentine's Day. It's February the 5th, 2017. I was scheduled for my appointment at that time. And it turns out that I was scheduled for a partial hysterectomy. And I made a decision to sign the dotted line to do, to be okay with the decision that I made that there was no possibility for me to even have any children. Because it would, if I had kept my fibroid had grew so big, which again, I'll tell the number at the end, but it grew so big that it was jeopardizing my quality of life. Now, how are we going to move forward? I'm home free, homeless, home free. What does that look like? How we prepare that? So what I did, had conversations with my family, decided to, it turns out the only person that could come, was available to come, was my mother. And my mother was not in a situation where she can be doing a lot of things for herself. I had to help her with some things, but she was in a good enough position to fly out to LA and be in the hospital with me. And so she did. On that day, she came maybe February the 12th or the 13th, maybe a 13th, but the 13th, 12th or the 13th. It was arranged that I had got a hotel, and I reserved the hotel for her arrival time, 2 days arrival, because I wanted to spend time with her in LA. And then there was a time the next day I would go and do all my pre-hospital checks, and, examine and make sure I was good, which was another touch and go moment, because while I had lived out in the world in my car at the time, preparing for the surgery before, I caught a little cold, and it was, by the grace of God, it was started to kind of dissolve before I needed to go in for my pre-medical exams and tests before I go to surgery, my pre-surgery test. And what they did was they sent me for another exam to see if I was able, because if I had anything in my chest going under the anesthesia, it was not going to be good. So luckily, and I would mess everything up because I already paid for my mom's flight to get there. Everything was set in place. And so I passed. Everything was great. I was approved. And so now my mom's in town. We stay in a hotel. Another blessing that happened, one of my girlfriends who experienced a fibroid in her past. And so what she did was she flew in, seen about me, and it was great. That's the end part of that story. I've never been to surgery. Obviously, that was something new for myself. I was told my appointment time with a nurse who called. They said my appointment surgery time was at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm usually an on-time person. So we're rushing, trying to get there at 8 o'clock. No, you're supposed to be on a table at 8 o'clock. So keep that in mind. If they say your surgery time, you never went to the hospital, they said your surgery time. Don't look at it as your hair appointment is at 8 o'clock. You're supposed to be on the table at 8 o'clock. So we arrive in there and they're like, oh my God, you came. We didn't think you were going to come. I said, what? My appointment is at 8. They said, no, you're supposed to be on a table. What? You'll notice you go to another place, the doctor's office for the doctor. They go to the hospital to reserve those rooms for your appointment. I almost missed my appointment. All this would have been messed up. So luckily my doctor was really nice. They figured out a way. They said, no, we can make this happen. Let's get her together. And they just zipped me past my mom. It just like whirlwind. I said, no, I stopped. Give me my mom. I need to see my mom. So they let her come back as they put in the IVs in my arm and everything. And the anesthesiologist, very nice. Usually you're going to have a nice anesthesiologist that's going to just talk to you. You don't even know what's happening, that they're giving you drugs and whatnot, because they're trying to keep you very comfortable and not really, shock your body. And so they're having all kind of lightweight conversations and laughing and joking. And I didn't even know they're trying to pass, they're putting drugs in me so I can pass out and stop talking. And it did take but a second, because the moment my mom left, they finished wrapping everything up, gave me the go. I remember pushing me outside the room. I'm heading down the hallway. I started reciting the Lord's Prayer. And all I remember is
the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul.
I don't remember turning the corner or nothing. I was gone. The thing that was so touching for me, I do remember before my doctor, when he came to do his check on me before we were rolled away, we took a high five before I went to sleep. And I said, when we wake up, we're going to get another high five. He said, yeah. Because again, I built a good, healthy relationship with this man. I depended on this man. I prayed over this man because he was the only man that was there for me at that time. Remember, I'm a single woman. I didn't even have a man. My father wasn't even there. So here I had to depend. Everything was poured into this doctor, doing the right thing, even when he had me to have to make a decision. Is this signing that dotted line in the hospital? That's one of the most scariest mental things that you'll sign, is saying you understand that there are consequences that can happen, things could happen. And but if you have a great doctor, you feel it. You'll feel like he's good. He knows what he's doing. If you just follow the orders of what they need you to do, it shouldn't be no problem. But he promised me, we did the knock on wood, and his doctor in the office, he said, hey, I never have nothing on my thing, and I'm sure not. That is not my goal. And so he was sincere about that. And so at that time, he became my brother, my best friend, my father, my uncle, my cousin. That's all I had as far as being a man in my life right now to protect me. And my trust was all in his hands. I became vulnerable in that office, and I let him know, I need you, to be there, help me, support me, guide me, take your time, understand. So he knew my story, and he gave me that high five before we rolled down that hallway. And the next thing I remember, shaking me and talking to me, Stephanie. And we gave that, I remember that IV in my hand, lifted it up and just slowly tapping him on his hand. And I was like, wow, oh man, it was the best sleep. I never thought being under anesthesia could be so good. I mean, I guess because I slept in that car for months and months. Again, we'll talk about the car situation in another video. I didn't feel any pain or anything. Now, everybody's body is different. Your body may be different. You may react different. Sometimes even just your nerves will make you react different. Only thing that was uncomfortable because now they expect you to do so much movement. So it got me into my other bed. That was kind of like uncomfortable. But once I got there, I was great. When I looked, there's no stomach. My hands wasn't doing this. It was just falling to the ground. Oh my God, I haven't did that in years. Where did it go? It was flat. Ugly but flat because I had all of these silver stitches going up my stomach. Now, that was the only thing that became uncomfortable because now you can really feel that you have metal staples. You can feel it. It was just irritating. Um, but it didn't hurt. It was just uncomfortable. Everything was just uncomfortable. I never dealt with any pain. They gave me the pain pills. I took the necessary pain pills. I didn't overdo anything, but I stayed ahead of the pain. And another thing I didn't do was I didn't take the highest. I just took the regular Motrin. I believe, yeah. I took that, and that was pretty much all I did. The other prescription, that was the high dose, it never needed. So what that hospital stay looked like for me, from my experience, I got the best care in my life. Let the doctors be the doctors. Let the nurses be the nurses. But I did respectfully ask them, let me try. Let me try because here's the thing. I'm single. I'm living by myself. I'm out in this world. I don't have anybody to depend on. So I have to know how to do this on my own. So if you can just kind of guide me, kind of watch me when I make these moves that you need me to make, that's all I'm asking. And they were okay with that. And I was just cooperative, whatever they needed to do. I was just there, and so they gave me it was like the best. I feel like I was living in Hollywood. Well, I was in LA and Hollywood, but I mean talking living the Hollywood life in the hospital. They all just loved on me. They all just loved on me. And my mother as well, who was in the room, and she sat in that chair day and night, day and night. It was time for me to be there for about 2 days. The first day, just in the bed, trying to babysit my wounds and not doing too much. And then I believe the next day, the doctor came in. He was, did his rounds, and he talked to me. He said, I need you to start getting up and walking. You don't lay in this bed. I need you to walk. I don't care. He said it might be uncomfortable, hurt a little bit, but you know what? That's going to make your healing process go a little bit faster. Don't hunch down trying to babysit that wound. Try to stand up because you have to stretch the muscles out, or you're going to start healing in a hunchback way. Yes, sir. That's what you need me to do. And guess what? I had 3 assignments. As they said, he gave me 3 assignments. That's all I had to do. I had to rest, I had to eat, and I had to walk. That's all I did. Those 3 things. I had got me a walker, a wheelchair actually, and I'll insert some videos here. I'm sorry, I walk around that hospital hallway and past the desk. They would cheer me on. I would do more laps, and that's all I did. And I'll go back and take a break, and I'll tell Mom, okay, going back out. And I pushed that wheelchair around there just to get my steps in, and I did that. I was walking like a little old lady, but again, over time, that started to pick up. So again, you can make your hospital stay as comfortable as you want. But and that's how you can get the best care. Just work with your doctors. Be open with them. Just be sincere, nice. Don't be so aggressive and don't be so mean with them. That hospital food was like, I think it was even Burbank. I was at Providence Hospital. That food was amazing for me. It was good. I split it with my mom to the point they said, no, we'll give her some. So they gave my mom food. So they treated us like royalty. We had an amazing time. Another thing was funny. Well, jumping before it gets too funny. Again, there was no discomfort. If you want to know, I only had one episode that was really, really bad for myself. And that was when it was time for me to go to the restroom. It's going to be a requirement that you go to the restroom. They want to see number 1 and they want to see number 2 because they're trying to make sure everything is flowing and moving the way it should actually go. So, with a suppository, you might have to get one of those pushed in or whatever the case may be. I was off Facebook and live and making videos initially, but when it was time for me to get up, oh my God. It was like my soul had just fell in my shoes. there was almost like a 911 moment. I get into because I that was my first time feeling my organs. I've been laying down for so long, and my organs feel like, oh, it was just I can't even describe the feeling, but I feel really faint. And they almost had to get like a dolly, if you know those moving dollies that they have in U-Haul or some type of storage unit that moves your furniture. All these nurses come running in, and I just had no control. It was just like I was slipping away. And my mom, I even seen her when they was pushing me, and the dolly crossed past her because she was sitting in the chair, and her eyes, she was watching the magazine. She looked up and over her glasses, and I never seen her look that scary and speechless. And I had nothing left. So as soon as they put me in the bed, it was like, hey, Facebook, hey, oh, everything just came back to life. Like my blood came into my body and everything. But I felt it. I was just zoned out. And that was a scary moment too.